Welcome back to another episode of Trial Talk Tuesdays. So I have another trial for you guys. We will be getting right back into the Jeffrey Dahmer trial. This time, we will be hearing from his next door neighbor, somebody who smelled the odors from their vents. Went in, I believe, 3 times. When you think about that, this was like 3 times that he could have died. So let's get into it.
I'm about to give this matter the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please be seated, sir.
And sir, would you tell us your name and spell your last name for us?
Excuse me. My name is Sopa Princewell. Last name Princewell, Princewell.
How do you spell your first name?
Sopa is Sopa.
Just pull the mic a little closer to you, Mr. Principal. Thanks. How were you employed?
Pardon me?
How were you employed?
I was employed to be the resident manager of the building in which Jeffrey used to live.
Okay. And is that located at 924 North 25th Street?
Positive.
So y'all, I apologize. They said a neighbor, it said neighbor, so maybe he was still a neighbor, but did not know this was the manager. So yeah.
Yes, I can recollect a few occasions when I had come in contact with him.
Okay. And is he seated in the courtroom now?
I stipulate to his name.
Was Mr. Dahmer committed to a lease in this building?
Yes, I remember he was in the building before I got employed there. Mm-hmm. And at the end of his first year, he renewed his lease with me.
Okay. And does that lease last for a year?
Yes, the lease runs for 1 year.
Okay. And it's renewable on May of each year?
Yes.
Okay. When you first started your job, when did you first start working in the Oxford apartments?
I remember I was hired to be manager at the building in July 10 of 1990.
Okay. And do you recall your first contact with Mr. Dahmer after you were hired to be manager of the building?
Yes, I believe the first contact I had with him was sometime in July, towards the end of the July.
In 1990?
In 1990, when he asked me to put a lock on his mailbox.
And did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember anything else about that contact?
I believe he was very grateful that I put a lock for him.
Did you have any contact with him in August of that year?
Yes, in August of 1990, we had complaints from residents about the smell that's going through the building.
Did you talk to Mr. Dahmer about that?
Yes, I did. I called him to my office and discussed with him. And he told me that he was sorry that it happened, but his freezer broke and he had about $150 worth of meat getting spoiled.
When you talked with him, did he appear nervous or uncomfortable?
Well, while we were speaking, he did not appear abnormal. He was quite normal.
Did you then go up to his apartment to look in that freezer?
Yes, I decided to verify that it was the freezer.
And did you go up to his apartment then?
That's right.
What apartment number was that?
It's the apartment number 213.
And when you went into that apartment, did you notice a bad smell?
I didn't notice any bad smell when I got into the apartment, but because he said it was his deep freezer that broke, He opened it for me, and then I took a look into it.
And what did you see when you looked into it?
I saw normal grocery kind of meat on
Like
top.
chicken?
I believe it looked like steak.
And was it wrapped in a store wrapper?
That's right.
Did he explain why he hadn't cleaned out this freezer when the meat went bad?
Well, he complained about working too hard in the night and that he gets tired.
Did you offer to do anything at that point?
Yes, I was very concerned about the smell and I offered to help him clean it.
And did you do that?
No.
What happened?
He told me not to worry about it. He will take care of it.
And did he take care of that?
I believe he did because the smell actually subsided after that.
In your
Real quick. So this is the first, time he went in. How crazy, y'all. I think it's so insane that we have, not we, but him, Dahmer. This whole thing was so planned. It was so planned. He knew people were going to complain. He knew they were going to say something, so he had a backup plan. I wonder, did he defrost the freezer? Or, I'm so slow. Maybe what if it was never frozen? It was just a freezer that was never turned on, and that's where he kept the bodies. But can you just imagine how bold you gotta be to really kill somebody in an apartment where you have neighbors that literally share vents with you? They share the vents, they share the bathroom, the plumbing, everything. Insane.
building, does the management regularly bring in exterminators or pest control?
Yes, we have regular spraying of apartments against pests.
Can you estimate how frequently you'll have pest control come in and spray the apartments in a given year?
Normally we call in the exterminator once in a month. And the building has 4 sections of about 12 apartments each. And he comes to spray one section every month. And then we rotate.
So would that be about 3 times a year it would hit each apartment?
Yeah, likely, very likely, 3 times.
Did they ever go into Mr. Dahmer's apartment?
No.
Why not?
Well, normally when it's time for the pest control guy to come in, I usually send a notice to every apartment that would be sprayed. And I remember once when I was in the section where apartment 213 was, Jeff didn't accept the service. He told me that he will be using borax acid.
Did that seem like a reasonable explanation to you?
Well, it was in the point of the operating costs for the business. There is a charge to every apartment that's sprayed, and so if he doesn't want it, then we are going to save some money. So I thought that was reasonable.
Was there ever any complaint about pests coming out of Mr. Dahmer's apartment, that he wasn't taking care of it?
No.
Okay. In your time as manager, did any other tenant reject bringing in pest control into their apartment?
Not that I can remember.
While you were a manager, you suggested earlier that there came a time when Jeff Dahmer was given the opportunity to renew his lease.
Yes.
About when did that take place?
Well, his lease was going to run 1 year from the time he got into the apartment. And our company usually send out lease renewal papers 2 months ahead.
And
so it should be around March.
And was the company at that time willing to renew his lease?
Yes.
And was Mr. Dahmer willing to renew his lease at that time?
Yes, I took the papers to him, and at the first time I went, I didn't get him, so I tried to locate him, and he came to the office and...
Yo, I say this, like, I swear every time I see a trial, how bold, I know it's their job, the lawyers, but how can you do, like, just imagine, you're literally sitting next to a psycho killer, somebody who dismembered people, allegedly ate these people. Like, that person is, like, elbow to you. Like, I don't, like, blockers up, don't look at me. Like, that's me. I'm not a lawyer, though, obviously that's your job, but, like, that's so scary. Like, am I the only one scared?
signed this renewal.
He looks so normal.
When people renew
kinda.
their lease with your company, does the management offer any services as a premium for renewing the lease?
Yes, the company offers one of two things. The resident would either choose to get his apartment repainted or the carpet cleaned.
And did you offer either of those services to Mr. Dahmer?
Normally, I did.
And what was his reply?
He didn't want his carpet cleaned or his apartment repainted.
Did he tell you why?
He didn't tell me why, but he said he usually likes to clean his carpet by himself.
Did you ever see him do that?
I remember seeing him once when he got the cleaning machine that he used.
Did any other tenant reject those services?
No, not that I can remember.
You already told us about confronting Mr. Dahmer about the odor problem in August of 1990. Did there come another time when you had to talk to Mr. Dahmer about this?
Yes, I remember.
When was that?
This was late May of 1991.
And how did you become that there was an odor problem? How did you find that out? How did you become aware of that?
There was a resident, a potential resident, who had wanted to rent an apartment directly above from him. And I had gone to set up the apartment against the 1st of June, but I couldn't stay to set it up because of the odor.
What did you do when you had problems just staying in that apartment?
Well, I knew that the odor was coming from his apartment because we had already known that before, so I had to start looking for him.
Was it similar to the odor you had noticed in August of 1990?
Yes, it was similar, but it's much stronger.
Did you ever find Mr. Dahmer at that time?
Yes, I did, and I asked him, excuse me, I asked him what's the problem again, because I told him the lady moving upstairs, you know, is not going to be able to do so because of the smell, and that he's messing up our business.
When you confronted him, was he angry with you?
No, he wasn't angry with me.
Did he appear nervous or upset or anxious when you confronted him?
No.
How did he explain the odor?
Well, he told me that it was his fish tank. He has claimed that 2 fishes had died in his fish tank, and he hadn't dumped them, and they started smelling.
Did you go into his apartment at that time?
Yes, I did.
And did he show anything to you to suggest that it had anything to do with his fish tank?
Well, I was curious what the smell was all about, and he said, oh, it might be the plastic container that he had in his closet. It's about nearly 3 feet high, about 1.5 feet in diameter,
Did you go and
as
look
a lid.
Okay. Did you go and look at that plastic container?
Yeah, I was right in the apartment when he said that it might be the plastic container, so I moved nearer to see, and I said, where is it? He opened it, and I looked in, and a very strong chemical smell hit me, so I had to move quickly backward and told him that must go.
Was there anything in that container?
There was nothing in the container, but it has very strong chemical odor that hit me.
Did you ever see him throw out that container?
Well, when I told him that must go, I left the apartment, and about 5 to 10 minutes later, he called me and showed it to me in the dumpster.
And is that dumpster located outside of your apartment building?
Yes, the dumpster is located in the back of the building.
Did the smell...
Okay, hold on, y'all. Oh my God, this is getting crazy. And I'm talking like this so y'all don't have to see the glare from the light. Oh my goodness, I'm talking about. I think that's when the second time is when my senses will come on. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Especially when the smell keep hitting you. And he did the right thing though. It's like he went up there, he checked, and then the tub. I'm guessing that's the one they say the body was in. And I'm like, if the chemicals are that strong, I think that's when I'll start talking. I'm like, what did you have in here that was this strong that you needed chemicals like that? But of course, that's not our business. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I don't know if I would call the cops. I would probably be like, just be aware. I think if you get another phone call, that's when it's time to you got to get somebody to investigate that, because that's not normal. None of this is normal. A fish tank, it stinks when there's no water, especially if it's dirty. We had the big fish tank before, and every time we cleaned it, the thing stinked, and you have to really clean it because fish are gross. But it don't produce a smell like I'm pretty sure what they're saying. But what's crazy is that this is all the chemical smell, yes, but also bodies. Just imagine, y'all. Your neighbor, there's something going on and you don't know what the smell is, and the fact that it's literally a body. These are decomposing body parts. That's the smell. I don't want to know what the smell is. I never smelled a decomposing body. I hope I would never, but who knows? All the stuff I talk about, maybe one day I will. I don't want to, but it's crazy because you never know what your neighbor's up to.
I'll go down then.
Not quite. The smell was still there, and I didn't know what it was, but I was worried that if he can, excuse me, if he can clean up his apartment, I was thinking that he's not a good resident.
Mm-hmm. Other than the smell in the apartment, did the apartment appear to be disorderly in any way?
No, I would think that his apartment was very neat compared to most others that I've ever got into.
Did there come a third time when you confronted Mr. Dahmer about the smell coming from his apartment?
Yes, I remember around the second week of July, 1991.
And what did you tell him?
At that time, I told him that if he cannot clean up, then I would think he has to go, because that's the last time I want to tolerate the smell.
Did he get angry with you?
No, he wasn't.
Did he seem anxious or nervous or upset in any way?
No.
Did he explain what caused the odor on that day?
Well, he didn't explain anything at that point, but he kept promising that he would take care of it.
When he was making these promises, was he being pleasant with you?
Yes.
Did you at any time call your management office regarding Mr. Dahmer's tenancy at 924 North 25th Street?
Yes, I remember this was after my third encounter with him. I had called because I warned him that that was the last time I was going to tolerate the smell. I did call the main office to put that in writing to him.
At some point, did Mr. Dahmer talk with you about a security system he was planning on installing in his apartment?
Yes, I remember. That was after the first confrontation. I remember this should be around either September or October of 1990. He had called me up and asked me whether he needed the permission of the company to put a security system.
And did he need that permission?
I told him he didn't need a permission to do that.
As part of that discussion, did he request to put extra locks on his hallway door?
He didn't put any lock on his hallway door, but I remember he has signs of alarm system on the door.
Does your management company permit tenants to put extra locks on their outside doors, the ones facing the hallway?
Some of them did, but I can remember there was none on his outside door.
At some point, you had a discussion with Mr. Dahmer in a McDonald's restaurant located near your apartment building. Is that correct?
That's right.
When did that take place?
I remember this would be around the first week of July.
1991?
1991, right.
What did you and Mr. Dahmer talk about there?
Well, I had wanted to talk to him to know if he could be a business partner of mine.
And do you recall what that conversation was about? What sort of business were you in? Or are you in?
Well, I'm a real estate broker, and I sometimes rehabilitate properties. At the time, I had one on hand, so I was looking for somebody who might be able to be a partner.
And
everybody, you want the person who's the weirdest, the weirdest, who has a weird smell that keep coming from the apartment, a bin that smelled like strong chemicals. People keep on saying like a smell that they can't imagine coming from there. Somebody who's quiet and like that act like that, you know, the weird demeanors, but acting normal, but you know something is off. No red flags there. Yeah, business partner. Okay.
And you thought that Jeffrey Dahmer would be an appropriate partner for you at that time?
Well, I figured that I could talk to him to see whether he would be one.
And did you ever decide to go into business with Mr. Dahmer?
No, I didn't, because we were not talking about the partnership. I was explaining to him my experience with the property.
But did you ever get to the point where you actually were discussing going into business together or not?
No.
Okay. How many times would you say you were in Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment during the course of your managing the property at 924 North 25th Street?
Yeah, I have been in his apartment at least 3 times.
In your experience, was that apartment generally kept in good order?
Yes, it was a pretty clean apartment.
Compared to other apartments you've been in at that same address, how did Mr. Dahmer's apartment rate?
Well, It's probably the neatest apartment I've seen.
Did anything about it strike you as odd or unusual, other than the things that caused the odor?
No.
In all the times you spoke with him, did you ever believe he was having hallucinations?
No, I quite understand him.
Did you ever think he was hearing voices?
No.
Were you able to carry on a regular conversation with him?
Yes, I did.
Did he ever strike you as incoherent?
No.
Did he ever strike you as irrational?
No.
Did you ever think that he was out of touch with reality in any way?
No.
Based on your observations of his manner, demeanor, actions, and conversations you had with him, what impression did he leave on your mind?
I thought he was a nice guy at the time.
In fact, you were willing to ask him to be your business partner, is that correct?
That's right.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
Crazy how some,
There is,
real quick, it's crazy how some serial killers can act so normal, right? And then act crazy to the victims. That's because they're not crazy. They're literally just faking. This man wasn't mentally ill at all. You know, the other one we watched with the victim said he was kind of like out of it, doing like some weird stuff, all for show. The man is not crazy, he's a serial killer. They're psychos.
a lot of things, as far as dates are concerned.
Because if he ain't come out of his character in court, I don't think there's nothing wrong with the man. Especially for what the victim said, the surviving victim, what he said.
Times that you were in the apartment. I'd like to go through those with you if I could. Starting with August of '90, you indicated that at that time that was the first time that you were in his apartment? Or the first time that you smelled anything?
It was the first time that residents complained about the smell.
Okay, now you had just started there in, was it correct, of July of '90?
That's right.
So you'd been there approximately 1 month when this first began, as far as somebody complaining about an odor.
Pardon me?
Okay, you started in July
Yes.
1990, and the first time you heard any complaints was in August of 1990.
Right.
Okay. I understand that he was in May of 1990. Is that when he had signed his lease that you're aware of?
I'm not aware of
Okay, that's fine.
when he got in.
Okay. So now this first time in May of 1990 that you indicated that there was a complaint, had you gone to his apartment?
Your Honor, I believe the testimony was...
Yes, after talking to him.
Just wait, one at a time.
I believe the testimony was August of 1990. Counsel misspoke and said May of 1990.
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, August of 1990, first complaint. I don't mean to confuse you. In August of 1990, had you gone to his apartment when there was a problem with some odor?
Yes, after the complaint about the smell and somebody actually identified his apartment as the source of the smell. So I had called and talked to him in the office and went with him to his apartment.
Okay. Do you recall giving a statement to some police officers relative to this? Sometime back after this all broke, you spoke with some police officers in '91 relative to this incident, isn't that correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Back then you'd indicated that at that time there was, they went into room 205 instead of 213 because they thought perhaps somebody had died in there, isn't that not correct?
Yes, that was an incident that is connected to we are trying to trace the source of the smell.
Okay, so after you went into 205 and found that there was nothing there, you eventually found out it was from 213, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, and how'd you go about doing that?
There was a resident that identified his apartment.
I'm sorry?
A resident identified his apartment as the source of the
Oh,
smell.
so the person who complained was the one who actually said that's the area that he smelled it coming from.
The person that, the resident who told me about it lives right across from him.
Okay. And what excuse did he give at that time?
He said his deep freezer broke and he had meat in it that's getting spoiled.
Okay. Was this the time that you had actually... Okay. So you went into his apartment, you said, Jeff, we have a complaint here, there's a problem that there's a bad odor. Now, when you walked in, did you smell it?
When I walked in, I didn't smell anything in his apartment.
You did not?
No.
Okay. And...
But he had opened the freezer for me to take a look.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And as you opened it, did a smell come out at that point?
I did smell it a little bit, but not as strong as it was outside.
So it was stronger outside of the apartment rather than inside?
Right.
And stronger, outside rather than in the freezer?
Now look, I'm guessing this is his attorney. These are his people. Now, hold on, y'all. I would be like, okay, we just answered all these questions, but I know they got to continue to ask them. It must be so hard to represent a killer, a serial killer. I'm talking about real serial killer. Like, Jeffrey Dahmer is a legit serial killer. They know he did it. They found what they found. They found body. They have it. I can only imagine. It's their job. But, how do you really do it? How do you really defend that person? I wonder if it's not even about the defending. I guess it's about, is it about him trying to be insane? I'm really curious about what do they fight. To be honest, they shouldn't even had a trial for this. They know he did it. I would have put it all everywhere on the news. They did during that time. Don't deserve to have a trial, but I guess they want to know details about everything. And people want to know what happened because there are victims. They got to break it down. So I understand why they did it. But to be honest, this could have been a done deal if they just, got him out of here. But yeah, I don't know how to defend these people. I really could not do it.
That's right.
Okay.
And I feel like, it's also harder to defend serial killers because they did it, but their job is still to try to prove something. I feel like she's having a hard time coming up with stuff to say, even though because the people that already went, they broke it down. They was asking questions. It's everybody know this happened. It's really hard to defend that person, that serial killer. So that's a hard job. I do not want that job.
When you looked in the freezer, you saw packages of meat.
Because there was no way they weren't going to win
and
that.
these packages of meat were just packed up in plain old wrapping paper. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
I feel like she don't know what to say.
Okay, the second time. Well, first of all, let me just ask you one question. How much time did you actually spend in the apartment at that particular instance?
I normally don't stay any length of time. I just went there to verify the source of the smell. And so after he opened the freezer to me, and I saw the meat on the top of it, I had to leave. It's just a brief moment of time.
So 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. What, if anything, did you tell him to do about it? I mean, if they didn't have any smell there at all, that you thought there was a problem, did you just leave figuring that, well, the freezer's fixed now, so the problem's taken care of?
Well, after the first encounter, we didn't smell anything till the next year.
Okay. Now, the second time I have here was indicated that it was a few months later that there was a person found in apartment 308 that had been strangled. Now, was there a complaint at that time that there was any odor in the apartment building?
Well, the person was strangled sometime in May of, probably the first part of May 1991.
Okay, so you were saying that your statement here would be incorrect, that it was just a few months after August of 90 that this in fact happened in apartment 308. I'm just trying to get a time.
I don't understand you. Please, could you repeat that?
Sure. Certainly.
First of all, we're not going to walk past it like they didn't just say that. That was somebody else strangled in these haunted apartment scares. There's no way I would get an apartment there. Did they tear those down? They had to, right? There's no way that's still up. I'm curious, but I'll look up that later. I feel like she's trying to make it seem like the smell came from that other building. Look, this is why I say it's definitely the hardest job. There was no way he was not going to be found not guilty. I heard that even when he told the truth. Like, this definitely had to be like a trial where you just want to know, like, there's no way they were going to win this, obviously, but I feel like she's trying so hard because, like, this woman, I feel like she don't know what to say. That's just what I feel like. That his statement was false because, well, she's saying his statement is basically false because of somebody else that died. No. Even if that person was strangled, I'm pretty sure it didn't smell like a decomposition because that's over time. I need to be in court because that smell, it takes time to linger. That dude was cutting up bodies up in that apartment. That smell will go up there quickly because of what he did. I need to be a lawyer. They don't want me as a lawyer. Because I'll turn them off to my client. This woman. Be prepared.
Okay, I'm not trying to confuse you or anything. I'm just trying to get down these times correctly, okay? So there's an indication here that you had stated that the second time was a few months after the first incident, and that was, the first one was August, so we're saying a few months, so let's say maybe August, September, October, November, around that area of 1990, that there was a person who was strangled up in 308. Now, because of the fact that you had stated this in here, when you gave your statement, was it because of an odor, or were you just making a comment to the fact that there was somebody who was strangled in 308? Do you recall that at all?
The case of 308 is not a part of this case.
Okay. Okay. So that wasn't as a result of any odors?
Odors don't strangle people.
Okay. The next time then you've indicated was around May 27th or so of 1991. And this is the incident right on or about the time of the Conrad Synthesis and some phone incident. Is that correct?
I'm not sure what it is, but I remember that is a period of time when I've started to smell the odor again.
Okay. Now, was this the same kind of smell that you smelled the first time?
Yes.
Okay. Was it heavier this time?
A little stronger.
Okay. Now, at that point in time, what did you do then? You went to check the apartment again, is that correct?
Well, I had to look for him.
Okay.
She's only repeating everything they said. They already said.
And asked him what's wrong again this time, and he said his fish tank might be smelling because he had 2 fishes died, and I had asked him why he doesn't like to dump it if the fish is dead. You know, the next thing it will start to smell. Why would he have to keep them, you know?
How many tenants complained about the smell at that time?
Almost every tenant.
Every tenant in the entire building?
Almost.
Okay. Did you go up to his apartment on that occasion?
Yes, I did.
And you went in?
I went inside and I was trying to locate what is really smelling.
Okay, did you see the fish tank?
I
Okay,
didn't
while
see
she's
it,
talking, y'all, I'm
but he
gonna
suggested
check something.
that he had used the container, the plastic containers, to empty the fish tank, and that may be what's smelling.
Okay.
So I went closer to him, and he opened up the lid of the container.
Okay, so this container was where? Was it in his closet or was it sitting out?
It was in his closet.
Okay, so he had brought you in his closet. There wasn't anything else unusual in that closet that you saw?
Well, I don't know because there were 2 containers. He only opened one to me.
Okay, and that one that he opened, he'd indicated that at one point in time that that he lifted the lid off the barrel, the pungent odor brought tears to his eyes and caused him to step back, and the smell was so strong. Do you recall saying that?
Yes, I had to tell him that must go.
So it smelled that bad that it brought tears to your eyes?
Yeah, it was very strong. I had to.
Did you say to him at the time, my God, how could you live in such a place that it smells so bad?
No, I didn't say nothing like that to him.
You didn't ask him any questions about it whatsoever?
No, but I asked him that he should get rid of that container.
Did you find it unusual, though, that you'd have something of such a nature?
Well, it was a little unusual, but I couldn't connect it to anything at the time.
Okay. How much time did you spend in the apartment at that incident?
Very briefly, about 5 to 8 minutes.
Okay. Right now, the last time that you had a problem relative to the smell was it in June or July of 91?
The smell continued from the end of May through July.
Okay. Did the smell increase? Was there a progression of the odor being worse and worse?
Well, it just remained fairly the same.
Pardon?
It remained fairly the same.
Between May and July?
Right.
But you had noted a distinct increase between the time in August of 90 from the time that all of a sudden you smelled it on a consistent basis in May of 91, is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Now in July 91, this was when you were attempting to rent the apartment 313 above it, is that correct?
I rented the apartment 313 in June.
Excuse me, June. I didn't mean to confuse you. And that was when you yourself smelled it from the apartment 313?
That's right.
Were there any other complaints from any other tenants?
Of course, there are a lot of them complaining.
Okay.
But I already knew the source of the smell.
Okay, so was there a constant complaint of the odor between May, June, and July?
Yes.
Okay. So this time, did you go into his apartment once again?
For a third time, I didn't go into his apartment. I just wanted him to know that he's not going to stay there if he doesn't get rid of the smell.
How did you convey that to him? Did you go to his apartment, or did you put a letter in his mailbox?
I saw him in the hallway and told him.
And he had indicated to you at that time that, what? That he was going to get rid of the smell?
Well, he kept promising to get rid of the smell. But I told him that was the last time I can tolerate it.
Okay.
And so I had to contact my office to put that in writing to him.
So, in any event, at that point in time, did you have a mindset that he was going to be evicted no matter what because of the odor?
That's what I had in mind.
Had you started these proceedings as far as through your office to have him evicted?
No, we haven't started proceedings.
But the decision pretty much had been made in your mind that
That's right.
he just didn't listen to you, did he?
Well, he did listen, but I guess he hadn't got any way to get around it.
Okay. How much time would you say from the moment that you met Mr. Dahmer to the last time that you had seen Mr. Dahmer that you had spent with him? In or out of the apartment? With him.
Well, I would say the longest time that I spent with him was when I was with him at the restaurant where he had a coffee and I had picked up breakfast to go.
Okay. In the entire time that you've known him, how much time would you say that you've spent with him in his apartment?
I haven't spent anything beyond 10 minutes in his apartment.
Okay. You said 5-10 minutes the first time, about 5-8 minutes the second time, and the third time you never went into his apartment.
No.
Okay. When did he have the alarm system put in?
I am not sure when. but it was after the first encounter in 1980. 19 August of 1990.
Do you have any idea, was that yet in 1990 or was that not until 1991? Do you have any basis of recollection whatsoever?
I would think it is in 1990.
Okay. You'd indicated before about the locks on the doors. Did he ask for additional locks on the doors on the outside, for the outside door?
It's not an outside door. We have passage locks for bedroom doors. And he had his own lock on the bedroom door.
Okay.
Instead of a passage lock.
Okay.
I'm going to let it finish playing because it's about done, but I just want her to say, like, I feel like, and I'm happy he's, like, being kind of annoyed with her because somebody in the comments said that, like, he's saying everything again, and maybe that's what she's trying to do, but I guess she's also trying to break the timeline up, which I understand, but be prepared because this woman was not prepared. She had to get the dates and stuff, trying to like messing up the dates and everything. This is a big case. It's like, girl, get it together. But also, this is why I say I feel like it's really hard to do her job because you know he is guilty. You got to figure out something to say to defend this man. That's the craziest thing to me, like the defenders. It's like you have to try to figure out something. They really didn't. Like I told you, I could be a public defender or a lawyer to defend those people because I would literally be like, you know what, he's guilty. Just get him out of here, and then I would lose my license. But I can't. But yeah. I'm talking about, y'all, what is going on? This how you know it was a shutdown case. They didn't have it together, or they did, and they just trying to figure out something to say. But yeah, they should just like ended it here. Or get him on this, anybody.
Mr. Princewell, when you met with Mr. Dahmer at the restaurant relative to this business, how long had you met with him there?
I went to the restaurant to pick up a breakfast, and I saw him, and I thought maybe he was gonna go home right away. He's my resident, and I thought we could work together. That's why I stayed to wait for him.
Okay.
He wanted to stay and drink his coffee, and then I thought maybe it wouldn't take too long so I can wait for him so both of us can walk home.
Okay. Did you in fact walk home with him?
Well, I didn't because he decided that he was going downtown.
Okay. So just for the time that you were with him, how much time did you spend with him? Would you approximate?
It was nearly 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes?
Right.
During that time you had a conversation relative to a business. Did you want him as a salesman or as an investor in your business?
I had wanted him to be as an investor.
An investor?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Redirect.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this was something. I'm going to hurry up and say a quote so I don't forget it because I thought it was really funny. When that defender was asking him, the lady, you know, the one who was defending Dahmer, that's their job. But he was like, she kept trying to act like, I know it's like most likely just to catch him in a lie, but it wasn't happening. But he was like, odors don't strangle people. Yes, thank you. Because you know, she was talking about that apartment 308, was that what, the 30, whatever that was, where somebody was strangled. Like I said, y'all, haunted apartment. Oh my God, let me hurry up and they tear those down. But yeah, he was like, odors don't strangle people. That's what I'm saying. Also, a body would not, like, that man was cutting up bodies in that apartment. That's why that odor was so strong. Now, also, some people were blaming him, and a lot of people said they don't understand why they were blaming him because, like, they was like, he could have put a stop to it. Look, people's in the comments, and they said they were some tenants, or not tenants, but landlords, and they understand what it is because the smell can come from anybody. There do be some stinking people, okay? People do be stinking. Also, people have pets. I know somebody also said under that, well, the smell of death is different. I was like, well, I'm over here like, well, have you smelled that before? Because I have not. But I understand from every point of view, okay? I understand it. He literally did his job. He went in, because at first I was like, how is that? You don't know what that is? Like, but I never smelled that, so I don't know. Like, they say when you know, you know. You know the smell when you know. I guess it's like something you have never smelled before. I have smelled a lot of smells before, okay? So maybe I'll figure it out. I don't know. I don't want to, but if I ever come across it, I'm pretty sure I'll know what that is. I'm really curious if they tore this down, but they say it remains vacant. Yeah, it was torn down in 1992. Okay, good. Too much death there. Too much death. Don't need that around here. But yeah, that defense team, they just kept asking the same questions. Like I said, maybe that's what they was going for, but she looked like she was not prepared. The man said what he said. It's crazy to defend a serial killer. Like, oh my God, maybe next time y'all will see if we can catch the one where he's on trial, because he's on trial on this. I do know that. But it's so intriguing. It's just interesting watching this stuff, years, like decades later. We're in 2025, and this was 1992. Dahmer. Can you imagine being alive with a Jeffrey Dahmer? Like, God. He killed, like, gay men, but that don't mean anything. That could be anybody. And it do be anybody nowadays. People still chopping others up. It's insane. But yeah, the manager did his job, and he's very nice. That's what it is. Very too forgiving, because me, I smell it. I'm like, okay, you get your warning, because like I said, you never know what people are doing up in there. You really don't. Like, he cleaned up fairly well too, because he said the apartment was always neat, the neatest one in the building. It's like people also have weird stuff they do, but like after that one right there, it's time to get the cops involved. I'm like, okay, this is something I have never smelled before, and just as a precaution, can y'all go in there? And they said the police went in there, and I think it was like the police went in there, and that might be on another one, y'all, but somebody in the comments said during the trial they talked about the police, and I think they was on trial too, that they went in and they didn't think nothing was wrong. Okay, and y'all are supposed to know what the smell is, so if that's true, blame them too, because they say he has a better eye than the cops. That's what made me think that the cop not see anything or did not smell anything. That's weird, because they know the smell of death. They have seen a lot of stuff, like, ew. Ugh. But yeah, the man did his job. He's just very nice. Can't imagine going into business with a person like Jeffrey Dahmer. What of anything he did gives off partner. Like, weird demeanors, don't communicate that much, quiet tenant, weird smells coming from his apartment, and that's who you want. Okay, you know what, I'm happy he did not go through with it. He was actually on the verge of evicting him. That third time, it was like, that was it. And then the fact that he actually saw the bin, opened it, it was so bad that he almost cried. That's right there. I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna call the cops. Like, this is not normal. But at the same time, he couldn't say that, because he would have most likely got attacked. He can't say that. Yeah, that's crazy. But this trial is wild. I'm definitely going to keep these coming. This was the second most voted for. That's why I went on and did it. Also, I'm very happy some more people voted for this, because I'm very intrigued in this trial. Like, I'm very intrigued, y'all. But this will be uploaded later today, because I have to edit most likely today. And this is a long video, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely like, comment, share, and subscribe. These trial talks are getting very good. I have a lot more, and if y'all want specific cases from like famous serial killers, just put them in the comments below and we will check them out. So on that note, I will let you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye.